Hello and welcome to another episode of Scott Reads Comics. Today I would like to cover Marvel Superheroes Secret Wars number 4, the facsimile edition, published in 2024 by Marvel Comics. This, of course, is part of Marvel's ongoing reprint of Secret Wars. This amazing issue number 4, one of my favorite in the series, has a lot of twists and turns following from the events of issue number 3. On the cover, beneath 150 billion tons stands the Hulk, and he's not happy. So this is a Bob Layton cover, and we're going to get Bob Layton interiors as we see our floating heads from various Marvel artists, including Paul Smith, John Byrne. The series began with Mike Zeck as the penciler, and he would return, but it was obvious deadline crunch stuff going on when these two pencilers would switch on and off. John Beatty, I believe, was the inker throughout the 12-issue series. This was originally published in 1984 by Marvel, along with a toy line of 3 3/4 inch or 4-inch action figures of middling quality, I would say. The figures some of them were cool, but they're pretty basic. But the story itself represented kind of a, the start of the big crossover events, the Maxi series, things like that. I think DC was getting ready to do Crisis on Infinite Earths around the same time, so both companies were kind of pulling out all the stops with these big company-wide, character-wide events. And this had been led up to in various Marvel comics with the appearance of these arena-like structures which were designed to kidnap the heroes and take them to the battle world, along with a bevy of really cool villains. Situation hopeless. Jim Shooter writer, Bob Layton penciler, John Beatty inker, Joe Rosen letterer, Christy Shield colorist, and Tom DeFalco is the editor. There, so much for the superheroes' headquarters. So the Molecule Man, after a successful attack on the heroes by this group of villains, chief among them Molecule Man and Dr. Doom, he destroys what had been their base at the time on the alien battle world. And we can see some of our cast of characters here. Great. Love this panel here featuring Titania, who had just recently been created by Dr. Doom. She and Volcana, who develops a relationship with the Molecule Man that I believe lasts to this day. And this is awesome. Dr. Octopus spots the heroes escaping some miles away, and Titania takes matters into her own hands and hurls this huge piece of debris miles toward them. And it's great, the Absorbing Man. Holy! They will not escape. I'll crush them all. All right, Wrecking Crew. If she can do it, so can we. Bomb them with smaller chunks of debris. So, pretty great sequence here. And they're going to follow up. They want to follow up with in-person attacks, but Molecule Man takes matters into his hands again. See those mountains in the distance? I'll just drop those on him. So he lifts up a whole mountain range. Meanwhile, we see our heroes beleaguered and bedraggled. Hulk carrying the unconscious ones, including She-Hulk, Spider-Man, Ben Grimm, who was the Thing, but the battle world has caused him to transform back into Ben Grimm. And Mr. Fantastic here. Spider-Man suddenly awakes, and we can see his spider sense warns of the incoming missiles. And remember, the Hulk in this series is still Hulk controlled by Bruce Banner. Great Hawkeye scene here as he's able to split with an explosive arrow the giant piece of debris thrown by Titania. And Iron Man, Jim Rhodes as Iron Man, does the rest, while also carrying an injured Captain Marvel. They don't have any time to celebrate as the mountain range quickly follows and drops on them. Great use of the long panel here to show the adulation of the villains at the outcome of the attack by Molecule Man. Meanwhile, across the planet, in the previous issue, Thor had gone away with the Enchantress to discuss their plight as fellow Asgardians. He felt some kinship to her, even though she's been a villain many times in the past, when suddenly they feel the shockwave of the mountain range dropping. And great panel here with Enchantress using her magic to transfer them instantly back to the scene of the hero's erstwhile base. And, holy cow, Thor and the Enchantress. Guess they've been off partying. A great line from the Absorbing Man. What's this, our fortress laid waste? Hey, you see real good, jerk. Let me have him one-on-one. I want to silence. Doom, where are my comrades? What have you done with them? I want answers. Speak quickly. Great perspective on this panel from Leighton and Beatty. Really cool how Thor's very imperiously demanding. There's no hint of fear, even though he's surrounded by powerful enemies. And Doom explains they're all dead and he's next. Are you mad, Doom? Do you truly believe that any odds might deter Thor from striving to the last breath? Of course not. However, common courtesy demands that I make the offer. It is 13-1 against you. Perhaps. Aye, so be it. So the Enchantress makes her choice. She doesn't take part in the battle, but she leaves Thor to fend for himself. Enough talk. Let's ace the sucker. Get him. Great fight scene here as Thor, showing his power, literally fending off a half a dozen or more incredibly powerful and dangerous superhuman attackers. This is one of the greatest. I'll stop here and say there's an issue of Thor that I need to cover on the show that basically has the entire issue is an expanded fight scene based on this interaction, these 3 pages. From Secret Wars number 4. That is well worth, I believe it's Ron Friends, and it is well worth covering on the show because it is an awesome expanded version of this super brawl. You're going to miss it. It might have given you a chance against me. Titania, the woman who killed Thor with her bare hands. That's what they'll call me, Mayhap woman, when icicles ornament Surtur's fiery realm. And he flicks her away with a backhand. And they're about to overwhelm him, and he just shrugs them off. Away, varlets, thy touch offends me. And he summons the lightning here. Truly awesome display of power from Thor, but of course Ultron has been equipped with a disintegrator beam and seemingly disintegrates Thor. Of course, Enchantress is upset, but she made her choice. So it would appear, nothing left but his helmet and scraps of his cape. And Doom points out that the X-Men are not accounted for, but there's a bit of unfinished business to deal with as Kang, who tried to kill Doom in the previous issue, is left here now after the battle, vulnerable to Doom's revenge, and he orders Ultron to disintegrate him. Pretty cool, as Kang is a future version of Doom in some continuity. Now we flash to the X-Men, led by a ambulating Charles Xavier here. He's got the use of his legs back. And of course, Colossus is thinking of Kitty back on Earth. Will he ever see her again? I didn't like the characterization of the X-Men in this. Jim Shooter did not know how to write the X-Men. A lot of it just rings false to me in terms of their overall characterization. Wolverine's a complete jerk. Xavier is extremely imperious. Rogue is still struggling whether she should be with the villains or not, but by this time, this is around the late 170s, 180s of X-Men. She had already been through a number of battles with the X-Men, including the stuff that went down in Japan where she almost gave her life for Wolverine. And he, in turn, did the same to her. So these misgivings that she's having here about being with the heroes are, in my mind, misplaced. And then we have the interesting characterization of Magneto, who is transitioning from villain to hero here. And of course, the other big thing about the X-Men and the Secret Wars is they get trashed quite a bit. They were trashed by Spider-Man in the previous issue, which I really hated, just very easily. And here they are trashed by the Wasp, which is, I get it, the Wasp is formidable as she has come into her own, but she should never be able to do this to the X-Men. But it's fun. She escapes. They let her escape. And she's going to try to rejoin her compatriots, but she's going to run into some issues in the next issue on the way. And meanwhile, underneath 150 billion tons of mountain, how about a little light? Oh, and here are the action figures in a well-placed ad. Nice thing about these facsimile editions is you get all the ads, of course, and so brilliant to have the ad for the Secret Wars character action figures in the same in the eponymous title. So very cool. They came with these weird shields, which had like holograms on them, and they were all right. But again, the figures were decent quality, not great. I remember having Dr. Octopus, and his arms would break off pretty easily. So, on to our story. We can see the Hulk is bracing as the heroes were able to carve out a small hole for themselves as the mountain range fell. But now they have to work out a way to get out. And in this incredible sequence, Reed Richards is awakened and comes up with a way to juice up Iron Man's armor so he can blast their way out. And in the meantime, while doing so, he knows the Hulk is flagging, so he purposely irritates him so that his anger feeds his strength and he can hold the weight up a little longer until they can escape. Brilliantly done. Awesome panel here from Layton and Beatty as they blast the side of the mountain away to free themselves. And a great panel here showing them exiting. Hulk, Dr. Banner, I'm sorry about what I said there. You knew I was losing it. You deliberately made me angry because the madder I get, the stronger I get. Yes, I know, Richards. I finally figured it out. I'm not that stupid. So Banner as Hulk is pretty morose throughout this series because he realizes that he is beginning to lose his faculties and revert to a more savage nature. It's a slow process. And here, of course, Thor has survived, and he was trying to get the Avengers out while they were escaping themselves. Captain Marvel is sent to scout for a new location. She sees Galactus, who's on the battle world as well, passes him, sees the villain's base, makes a quick turn, and realizes that the only place they can go at this point that's nearby, they can take care of their wounded, is this alien village that Galactus is standing over. These people don't look too happy to see us. Who can blame them for being afraid? So here's where we meet Saji the healer. Here she is right here, and her people who have also been brought to the battle world as non-combatants from some other alien world, and she has the ability to heal. And here we see the battle world's effect on Ben Grimm, turning him back into the Thing. And at the very end, we're left on a cool cliffhanger. What? He moved. Galactus moved. Oh, no. So Reed, knowing Galactus very well, knows that Galactus is about to summon his world ship, which means he's going to consume this world. And that's where we're left off on a cliffhanger. So very cool. I'm glad that Marvel is doing these facsimile editions. I'm glad DC is doing similar ones for Crisis on Infinite Earths, and I'm going to cover one of those on the show, and mainly to highlight the differences between the two formats. I prefer the DC format because they've managed to settle on a non-glossy paper, which I believe shows the art off better in its original form. But yeah, that's it. That was a brief look at Marvel Superheroes Secret Wars number 4. I hope you liked it. If you did, please like and subscribe. Tell your friends, and I'll bring you more soon on Scott Reads Comics. Thanks for watching.